Alrighty, hello, Beth the Builder here, and I'm back carving more rocks. So I haven't really been doing much of this, or wood burning, or really like creating at all. So I've kind of missed it. So I figured I'd bring you some more rock carving. So I've actually been busy tearing up carpet. I guess that's what I've been doing instead of wood burning and rock carving and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna do that. So I got my rotary tool. I actually hung it up over here on my wall so it's out of the way. So I got all my diamond coated bits, safety first, mask, and then I got my safety glasses because I don't want any rocks in my eyeballs. Okay, so I've drawn on my rocks what I want to carve, and I have a charcoal white pencil that I found works so well for drawing on rocks. I've used like a Sharpie in the past, but once the rock is wet, it's a lot darker and it's actually like way harder to see. And then as you carve, like the charcoal pencil just like scrubs away, but it doesn't just immediately rinse off in the water like you might think it would. This has been like so handy. But let me show you what I've drawn on here, and then we'll get carving. Okay, so this, I think I'm gonna do 5 of these. I scavenged all of these rocks in my backyard, and it's a lot easier now that the ground isn't frozen. But so I decided to do some binding runes. I like runes in general. I think they're really wicked cool. I guess I'm like low-key kind of like witchy in that aspect. Yeah, I like tarot cards and, you know, the elements, and runes I think are really cool. So these are binding runes, which are kind of like a combination of different runes, and binding runes aren't like Viking era, they're actually like Proto-Norse. So yeah, they're not ever found in like Viking stuff like a lot of normal runes. But yeah, they're kind of a specific thing. There's not a ton of information about them. So, you know, it's kind of open for interpretation, like what these really would have looked like in the era that they were used. So this is protection, this is success, this is safe travels, this is wisdom, and then this is luck. I just think this stuff is kind of cool. It definitely strikes a chord with me, this kind of stuff. I don't know if I necessarily believe that it does anything like that, but you know, like brings you safe travels or protection. But yeah, I think it's cool. Alrighty, so I have my shallow thing of water. I have my, I think maybe I need to plug my drill in. Otherwise, I think we're all set, and let's do it. Alright, also I just did this and it worked really well, so here's a hot tip. A toothbrush, preferably an old one probably, works really well for like scrubbing your rocks clean after you've carved them, and it gets all the sediment out of all the nooks and crannies. So yeah, that worked really well. Okay, so these are the finished product. Pretty cool. And then these are the 3 bits that I ended up using for these simple 5 rocks. There we go. So, okay, so these 2 are really similar. They both have that square end to them, and then they can get really like good, nice, like 90-degree, whatever, angles or corners or whatever you want to call it, in here. Like they get like perfectly in there. And then yeah, you can get like really good corners. So that's like really, really useful. I also really like them for doing it like around the edge of the rock. Like that worked really, really well. And then I used 2 different ones because the one I'd used a little bit already. So the diamond coating was just starting to wear out. So I switched to a new one for some of the others. And then to really smooth out like the inside of them, like right here you can see like there's a little bit of a bump almost. Yeah, there's a little like edge right there. I used this guy to really smooth out all my lines. These 2 are really good for making big, long, nice, straight lines. And then this is really good for smoothing everything out. So it fit in here really well. You know, obviously it's not perfect because, you know, I'm not really concerned about it being perfect. It's just fun to do. And, you know, the more you do it, like you'll figure out which bits are good for what things. And, you know, be a little bit more efficient about like, you know, changing bits and when to do that. I definitely have not used all of these bits. But like I have some really fine ones here and I'm just like worried about breaking them, honestly. But yeah, I really like these. I like how they turned out. I like the darker stone, and then inside it's really, really light colored. I liked the way, you know, I wrapped around some of the edges of it. I think that's kind of a cool effect. It makes it look a lot more like 3D. So I've kind of learned that these bits, like right here, there's a little nick here. They will jump when really you don't have control of what you're doing. So when you're first etching in a little pattern or when you're doing like a really light touch, that's when it jumps because you're just not putting enough pressure into it. You know, versus like cutting, carving wood where, you know, those bits have teeth on them. Like they're gonna like bite into something and they might jump. Versus these, I've really only ever had them skip when like, yeah, I've been like tentatively like, okay, where do I want to start? Or like, what am I, you know, where do I want to put this line or whatever? And that's when it's jumped. And it has gotten me. And really, it's just like a little scratch. Like, it really isn't that bad. You don't really need to be concerned about these like injuring you because it's like rough sandpaper. You know, I think everyone's had like whatever, accidentally sanded their finger or something with like a power sander. And that's kind of what this is. It's not like gonna bite into your skin and like, you know, mess you up the way that like a bit with like teeth will. These are kind of just like coarse sandpaper bits essentially. So I used to be really concerned about like them hitting my finger or whatever, and like that doesn't really happen very often, and it really doesn't hurt that much. So I've never been seriously injured by carving rocks. I'm really more concerned about like the dust and like if any piece of rock would come off. Like I don't want it to get in my eyeball, or you know, breathing in rock dust is probably like not great for you. So you know, that's kind of just like a word of advice. Like you don't really need to be worried about it like really hurt, like, you know, you injuring your hands or anything. Here, I mean, like, just compare these two. Like this one, like I carved like wicked deep into these, and this one I just didn't quite as much. And you can just see like the effect of like this guy with the lines going off the edge of it is a really cool effect, and it just has more of like the shadows of the rock that is still there, and like everything about it is just a little bit more interesting. Versus this is a little bit more shallow, so it just doesn't have that like 3D effect quite as much. Same with this one and this one. Like these are a little bit deeper, and they have just like more going on. And this one too is like kind of, it's not super crazy deep, but it's not nearly as shallow as this. Yeah, when you want like a really cool effect of things, even in rock, like even though it does take a little bit more time to get those deep lines, it is gonna be cooler and have a better effect in what you're doing. So I just noticed this is a little bit wonky here on the bottom. This isn't even. Oh well. If it's uneven, does it like negate the protective qualities of that binding rune? So yeah, carve deep. If you think this shit is cool, go and rock carve. Get yourself some cheap diamond coated bits. These are literally from Amazon. You can get like a 3-pack of all of these for, I don't know, like $15 or something. And then I just have like a cheap rotary tool. It's not fancy, but like it totally gets the job done for just simple carving and getting into it versus dropping, you know, hundreds of dollars on something that you're like, I don't even know if I'm gonna like that. Like, just, you know, get what you can. Like, so I hope this was helpful for somebody who wants to get into rock carving, of some simple tips and tricks of using, you know, the longer, flatter bits to do big long lines, and then the round ones to really smooth everything out. That is kind of what I have found works really well, but obviously I haven't used all these bits yet, so there's probably lots to learn and lots of fun tips that I will eventually get to and learn. So I'll keep rock carving. Like this if you like it, subscribe if you want more rock carving and DIYing. I have new videos every Friday, and thanks for watching.